All right, so the goal here is to go over, kind of a 101 of Syn City. If you're totally new, have no idea what's going on, there is a lot to go over here. So it can be overwhelming. And me and Mr. Bizz, we are going to try to break it down, go through the white paper, and just kind of like give a good introduction here. Okay, so on the first page, I think this is pretty key for everyone to understand is that this is more than a game. Okay, this is a Mafia metaverse. I keep emphasizing that, and as you see here on the white paper in the beginning, they talk about this idea of having it's a layer three, right, for the crypto ecosystem. It is an entire infrastructure that the game Sin City is going to utilize to for its economic system, right? But this will be able to what they're building here will actually be able to be applied to many different types of games, and the entire idea is it will be interoperable well into the future.
Just to add with in terms of the infrastructure, so they're setting up the framework essentially for syndicates or players to build within its parameters.
Yes.
So essentially, you could build your own infrastructure within this infrastructure, which is why this layer three is so critical component for Sin City.
Yes, exactly. And people will, especially when a lot of value gets created here, and we have this economy that is, really fluid, and it's making people money. I mean, we're talking people can come in, they can make first-person shooters, they can make strategy games, farming, all kinds of games. Like I just envision like racetracks, gambling, like all this stuff is going to happen within the Sin City Mafia metaverse because people they're making it so that people can build new things onto it. So I think that's going to be awesome. And a key factor of Sin City, very key because not other crypto games do not have this yet. Really, is this idea of it being free to play and earn, right? So not only can you earn, but those who earn, it doesn't just all the wealth doesn't just concentrate in one spot and then make it very hard for a new player to get in and earn an income. The idea of the Sin City metaverse will be that anybody can join with nothing and you can go from zero to hero by earning in the game and doing different things. And there's many different ways that you can earn. And at the first, many people will probably end up being, a grinder in this sense. This is what we're used to in other RPGs, is that, you'll have daily events, tasks, PvP competitions, and as you win them or participate in them, you're going to be collecting some kind of reward, some kind of revenue. This will be the base level way to make money in Sin City, and what most people, I would imagine, will be doing to contribute to the economy. Now, once you get through that, or maybe you never want to get through that and you already have some capital and you want to just be able to invest like a business entrepreneur in the world of Sin City, run a business in the metaverse, right? Well, this is what you'll be able to do as a capitalist. Once you have capital or once you make it in the game, instead of just going and selling it on the public market, which you can do to just make the money, you can reallocate those resources into the ecosystem, like buying a business, buying a pharmacy that will generate revenue over time, which we'll get into more later. And obviously, you can also just hold the assets. You can stake them to earn liquidity fees. And then there will also be a governance aspect that we will get into later. Do you have anything to add to that, Mr. Biz?
Yeah, and I think the key thing here is free to play, into play to earn, meaning that you got to put yourself in the mindset as as a not just a player, but as somebody interested in a project, and really do a deep dive as to why they would. Why would a project make it free to play? Because it sounds a little bit counterintuitive. Intuitive. I mean, wouldn't you want to charge money for players to play the game, so that way the businesses could earn a profit? What they wanted to do was to break down the barriers to allow everyone to participate, and with the vision of making a real wage within a game based on how you navigate.
Yeah, and everybody will have a different approach and a different journey to the top. Based on exactly like you said, how they feel like they want to navigate the world. So that brings us to some core gameplay. So like, how are you gonna make money? Well, the first, again, the grinding. You're gonna be partaking in events. You're gonna be doing raids, and think of the gameplay here as similar. It's a blend of different things, but it's not skill based. like a first-person shooter, you're not going to need to aim. What you will do is you'll have team building aspects. It's like a card battler, as they say here. The initial game mechanics start as a real-time card battler. So imagine like you're building your team. They have different attributes, different levels, and you will be able to go on an asynchronous player versus player raid, for example, kind of like Clash of Clans and other games like that, where someone will have their defenses set up and then like based on real assets that they own, but then that AI will take over and defend as you attack. So you're not waiting for another person to accept a challenge or to take their turn. You can go on these, you can go on these PvP battles, and you can just on your own and play against the AI that was set up.
And again, I just really want the players to understand how they can participate, and how really like I don't the last thing I think at least the founders and the developers wanted was to make the game complicated or make it too much skill based, and really make it difficult for people to play the game. I think by making it a card battler, it makes it very easy for players to participate in, which is key because it allows more exposure for players to engage.
So speaking of, that's all going to feed into this larger economy that we've continued to talk about. And this is a nice little graphic that kind of goes over, some of that. So for instance, and again, the Syn token will lie at the base and be the liquidity of this entire ecosystem. So for example, one player's experience on any given day might be, okay, I want to go on a raid to get this, to take over this pharmacy. In order to do that, I'm going to need a heavy machine gunner. Okay, well, I don't have one of those in my team. Maybe I need to go purchase one from the marketplace. If you have some Syn and that you had staked, which we'll get more into this later, you'll have synthetic Syn that you can go and purchase this from the marketplace at a discount, or you can just buy it with other currencies, right? But you buy this character, you go and you make this raid, right? So you've lost a little bit of Syn getting the character and putting together your team. You now go to the battle. If you win, you will gain Syn, gain resources. Your characters may lose other things though, like energy and health. After that, you may want to go take them to a pharmacy or somewhere else that will improve their stats, improve their health, and then this will also cost you some Syn or some resources, but you'll gain energy. So this is kind of the general flow of the economy, and each participant along the way, again, if you go to the pharmacy to heal your character, well, whoever runs that business, they are collecting some revenue. So there's a syndicate who will own that turf, and they'll be running that business, and again, that money's going back into the community, back into the ecosystem, to keep it going.
And understanding this model, it just puts things into perspective.
So the technology that they use, again, it's very much focused on making sure it's accessible and everyone can play it. So they're using Unreal Engine in order to get these graphics that you see here, and to still be able to play them in the browser and on mobile, which I would say is absolutely a huge achievement. There's games that are going to be able to have cooler graphics, like flashier details, but they're going to have to run on expensive machines. The key to this is to expand the Mafia metaverse as far and wide as possible, get more community members involved, more people earning money, more people participating, and just grow the overall share of the pie. And I think that they've made an excellent choice here in the technological direction to make sure that they can achieve that goal. So next here, in the white paper, we have the syndicate protocol. So this is what really a lot of this comes down to this, or is enveloped within this idea of the syndicate. It's called Syn City. You're going to want to be a part of the syndicate because syndicates are going to own these assets in the game, like pharmacies. They're going to be able to provide and use mercenaries, casinos, banks, churches, right? These are real assets that are going to be owned by the community, and different syndicates will be forming and have been forming, and you're going to want to be a part of them so that you can partake in this part of the revenue stream, right? So there's going to be all kinds of DeFi products. Again, as we've talked about, there'll be marketplaces. Churches will be a way to revive your character if they die. And if you don't revive your character when they get injured or killed in the game, that NFT will burn. So that's like a very interesting mechanic, and I like it because it really will keep the involvement high. And yeah, it'll like really, if people just let their characters die, then that's like a deflationary aspect onto the overall other assets in the game, which I think is great.
Yeah, and I think that the one thing that to mention too, which is really cool, is that community developers can use Syndicate protocol to develop different business modules and game systems within the Syndicate metaverse. So I mean, it really opens up the door to like, it's not confined to just the infrastructure or how or not. Oh, it is the infrastructure, but it's not set in the sense that, I mean, there's a lot building on this game, and it's ever evolving.
Yep. Yep, exactly. And it's so community focused that like even the community is a huge part of building this, and it will be a huge part going into the future because of the way that they've made this infrastructure kind of like the ability to plug new things into it. So I'm super excited to see what we as the entire community and the Syn City team comes up with for these new modules. Again, the sky is really the limit. The infrastructure is being set up, and anything should be able to be plugged into it and utilize those assets. So again, if you're looking at this just from a pure money-making standpoint, this is a game where you will be able to earn assets that will have value, that can very well have value for a long time, because again, they can keep being passed on from metaverse to metaverse. So that's really exciting. And yeah, just like Roblox does, just like more games are starting to do, getting the community involved, it's just a great way to expand the ecosystem, and go in directions that you could have never, like one team could never have even thought of. So I think they're very wise to do that. And that really leads us right in to this idea of Mafia as a DAO. See, the Syn City team is not even planning on having 100% control of this in any way, shape, or form soon. They want the syndicates the 7 top syndicates, as you see right here, are going to comprise this high table, that they'll be able to vote on the direction of the game, different events, ways to earn money. So this Mafia as a DAO concept is being pioneered here. And again, the top 7 Mafia groups will be able to elect representatives. So it'll be like a 7, signature DAO in a certain sense. And each of those syndicates will then be a sub DAO, very likely. So again, community governance through and through. Now, how do you get on the round table? Well, one way is you would, like, if you're part of a syndicate, you stake some of your SYN. That'll generate S power, which is delegated to the syndicate leaders and will then apply to basically how much governance, capabilities they have, or whether they can be at the high table or not. The syndicate leaders will be able to offer benefits, special events, as I was discussing. They'll be able to reward the members for their engagement and their loyalty. So this is, again, just more community involvement. That's really what will make this a big thing. And again, to encourage that, there is literally a universal basic income built in, that as things are being taxed and people are utilizing these services and generating revenue, a small portion of that is going to be re-injected back into the ecosystem as a universal basic income to prevent the ossification and of like certain hierarchies of capital and stuff like that. So this is quite a major innovation. I'm not going to go over this entire chart right here for the purposes here, but I encourage everyone to go look at this. I mean, this really is a pioneering element of this game.
And that also ties into, like, if you think about the infrastructure, and the thought that went behind, in terms of the mechanics and the ecosystem, you really get a sense that this game is actually much bigger than just a simple participating as a player type of game. Like, you really can be something. You can take this as you can treat this as an actual job. If you're making a real wage, I mean, there's no stopping a player from ascending and doing, pretty much conquering whatever they want to aspire towards. There's really no limit.
Absolutely. So again, as we've touched on, the SYN token is the base element here, and you'll be able to stake it for S power. You'll be able to stake it for synthetic SYN, which will allow you to have a 25% discount in the marketplace, in the in-game marketplace. So those are 2 really important elements for the SYN token. as you can see here, yeah, and you'll be able to get additional yield just by staking it, and you'll be able to literally boost your in-game characters by staking it. So many aspects of utility of the Syn token, and again, that is so extremely important because in order for anyone to come in here and make money, there has to be a real utility and demand for that Syn token, and it looks like they've thought very hard about that. And they have added so much utility to it that I do believe it will be a strong, engine for the economy here. Mr. Bizz, you're the blueprint expert. Do you want to go over just briefly what the Syn Pass does in the blueprint?
Sure. I mean, for the blueprints, I mean, these are essentially NFTs, and they're characters that will be revealed at a later date. The blueprints will form like the foundation of the in-game assets by providing incentives and perks within the Syn City ecosystem. So, which means that it can increase the special earnings events like progression levels and like number of in-game rewards. It's also important to note that Blueprint's assets will be upgradable through various mechanisms, including training, modifying, player versus environment, player versus player battles, farming, borrowing and lending, and staking and gotcha mechanics.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, we'll go into Syn Pass in another video potentially. Let's wrap this up quick. So basically, again, this is gonna be cross-chain, accessible to as many people as possible. Chain agnostic is the word that they use because it's basically like it should be able to work on basically any chain, any metaverse. That is what they're building it to be able to do. So I think that's super encouraging. That's great for the longevity of the project. I encourage everyone to take a look at the people backing this project because that's pretty. I mean, these are some incredible partners. We have the co-founder of Twitch here. We all know Alex Becker and Elio Trades. We have Do Kwon, the founder of Terra, which is massive. All these CEOs of crypto companies, these guys don't mess around and they are successful people. And my motto would be to invest in people over products. And while this product looks great, and it's we only have so much of it so far, I have high confidence in this team's vision and their ability to actually bring it about because of the success that they've had so far in the industry. Yeah, so we have a roadmap here I'll quickly just touch on. I mean, this is just the beginning. This is going to look hilarious 6 months from now probably because of how much there is, how far this can go. But we will be having, the game will launch. We'll have a marketplace going, and then we'll have, the DeFi aspects, the GameFi aspects coming in, the guild wars, and then, we'll have tournaments globally. The metaverse will continue to expand. And these are all things that are coming down the pipe, hopefully in 2022 and well beyond. Is there anything else, Mr. Bizz, that you think we should touch on? Any new people to the ecosystem need to know?
Look at it like a business, and look at the potential here. If you're out here making a real wage, and the team and founders nail their initiatives to bring that to fruition and to have it actually manifest, and you're making a real wage. Think about what you can do. Think about how you can be a capitalist. Start strategizing. Start expanding your mind into the possibilities of what you can achieve. Find a crew, find a team. Get connected. As long as find like if you want to participate or get through Syn City with us. I mean, for us, our number one thing is. We want to focus on taking the little guy or the player that has invested little to no money, how we can turn them into a capitalist. So there's many different ways to go about this, but to do it in the shortest time possible, that is our goal here. That is our mission. And so if this resonates with you, and if you think that you could be a contributor to some capacity, whether it's playing a game, helping with building an infrastructure, helping building the syndicate, reach out to us. My name is Mr. Bizz. We have Cyan here. Both of us are going to leave our links below where you can DM us on Twitter. Reach out, and honestly, if you have any questions at all, feel free to just drop them into the comments. If you want to get connected, message us. We'll definitely walk you through the process, get you educated, get you all caught up to speed, so that way we can lock arms and just basically go crush it together.
Absolutely. Yep, exactly. I couldn't have said it better. That's exactly what, our syndicate La Tavola Rotunda is all about. LATR, later, whatever you want to call it. You can call us whatever you want. We're here to make money together. And yeah, I'm super excited. So feel free to reach out and let's do this. Let's build this game.